Well, good afternoon, everybody. How wonderful to see this kind of turnout. I am absolutely thrilled. What a great afternoon. Happy spring to everybody. My name is Nancy Matthews, and I'm the director of the Morgridge Center for Public Service. And it's my pleasure and honor to welcome all of you to the very first Engaged Scholarship Summit that UW-Madison has ever held. Our purpose today is twofold. First, we wish to honor and thank both Tashia and John Morgridge for their incredible support to the Morgridge Center through the establishment not only of the center, but also of the Morgridge Match Grant Program. This is an exciting opportunity. Their generous support of Engaged Scholarship has enabled 38 faculty teams to advance the Wisconsin idea through community-engaged research and learning. Second, we celebrate the accomplishments of the faculty, staff, students, and community partners themselves for the incredible work they are doing as a team, as a collaboration in the community. They have impacted hundreds of people locally, statewide, and globally through their engaged work, as you're just about to hear this afternoon. The Challenge Match program got its start just after the Morgridge Center rounded its 13th anniversary in 2009. The Morgridges, along with former director Michael Thornton, came up with a way and envisioned a way to strengthen the Morgridge Center, to build its endowment while giving back directly to campus to support engaged scholarship. Their work was, their vision, I think, was inspirational, and the mechanism of how this has actually happened has been something that has had a huge impact both on the community, the students, the faculty, and the staff. This initiative really reflects our motto, which is fundamental to our mission, bridging campus and community through service and learning. Very simple, but very powerful. Our founders and our center's aim is nothing short of building a thriving democratic society by helping to prepare our students to become engaged citizens and leaders of the future. So how does the Morgridge Match program actually work? The program was set up as a 5-year, $5 million challenge match program to help build the center's endowment while directly supporting the engaged scholarship of our faculty teams. For every dollar that the Morgridge Center raises, an equal amount is placed into our endowment. For every dollar that our faculty and staff partners raise, the match program matches them 50%, and 50% goes into our endowment. To date, the program has directly supported 38 faculty staff teams, and hopefully you were able to make the rounds outside in the atrium and visit these incredible posters. There are 30 of our partners presented through the poster presentations. To date, we have actually supported the work on campus with $1.4 million, and we have built our endowment by $1.8 million. A phenomenal impact and something that I think is going to surely help the Morgridge Center to continue to grow and continue to support engaged scholarship on campus. For many of us, engaged scholarship is second nature. Simply defined, engaged scholarship is the generation of new knowledge or new processes and learning in collaboration or in partnership with the community. So it's really about working together in authentic reciprocal partnerships. We see engaged scholarship among students in over 100 service learning courses on campus every year. We see engaged scholarship among faculty in their community engaged or community-based research in every school and college, all 13. We see it in the community through trusted partnerships between faculty or staff and organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County, United Way of Dane County, the Urban League through their Schools of Hope program, Community Shares of Wisconsin, Madison Metropolitan School District, and over 200 additional nonprofits. And I happened to learn yesterday that there are 2,360 registered charitable nonprofits in Dane County, and it's absolutely amazing that the Morgridge Center touches over 10% of them. So it's a phenomenal accomplishment. What an honor we have today to celebrate the accomplishment of our engaged scholars. As I said, the posters will be, some of them will still be available for viewing after the session is over, and if you haven't had a chance to talk to some of the partners and some of the people who have made these partnerships happen, you really need to. So this time I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our poster presenters, our 30 engaged scholarship teams that have made an impressive impact on the community and on campus. So thank you. If all the poster presenters and team partners would stand. We have a vibrant program lined up for you this afternoon, starting with some opening remarks by Chancellor Ward and our guest speaker, Tashia Morgridge, and our engaged scholar TED Talks, and concluding remarks this afternoon by Vice Chancellor Darryl Bazell and the President and CEO of the Girls and Boys Club, Michael Johnson. So I'm delighted to turn the program over to Chancellor Ward, who's going to share his wisdom and perspectives after many years of being thoroughly supportive and behind engagement and engaged scholarship. And for some of you who may know that he was involved with the Kellogg Commission over 20 years ago that really brought attention to engagement and outreach on this campus and in higher education. Chancellor Ward, thank you for being here.
You now know I'm a real lame duck, right? I'm just delighted that Rebecca Blank will be taking over the reins of UW-Madison sometime in July. Even though I'm a lame duck, I can still fly. So you'll see me flying, even though one leg is injured. But I'm delighted to be here with my friends John and Tashia, who long ago supported university in many ways, but this particular one I felt very closely associated with, particularly with Mary Rouse and I. We're vintage Madisonians, I think, and it was a very important kind of recognition of something that was underlying the campus engagement, but was then brought out. And it so happens it was very close to the Kellogg Commission, which really tried to look at higher education and try to sort of think about it differently. It was too soon in some ways. 93, 94, we needed the crisis of the last 3 or 4 years to get us to be more energetic in our rethinking. But there was actually one of the 5 reports that I think did have a deep influence, and it was the one on engagement. It was a much better definition and a much more empirically grounded sense of what was programmatic about engagement. So I'm really delighted to be here to celebrate the efforts of the center, its staff, and the many students, faculty members, community members, and alumni who've helped make it so successful. My special thank, of course, goes to Nancy and her staff for providing this opportunity to promote and celebrate community-based scholarship. As a faculty member, as a, I don't like the word administrator. I don't know how to do that. I think it's kind of, I hope it's really academic leadership. So as a faculty member and academic leader, I've always known that UW-Madison had a very special place in how we put together the learning experience. And imagine my delight upon returning to the campus to find that we finally put a name to this feeling, the Wisconsin experience. Every university tries to find a way to there's obviously much that's generic about good undergraduate programs, but every institution tries to find a niche or a positioning. And I think we finally, got something that those of us who know what it is, and I hope that all our students know what it is within a few months of being here, is taking off on the Wisconsin idea and talking about a Wisconsin experience. And it's a very ancient idea if we can think of the 20th century as being ancient, because Van Hise, of course, was the guy who defined the Wisconsin idea as the boundaries of the state were the boundaries of the university, and that's a little obsolete, you know. The boundaries are probably obsolete, as Tom Friedman would argue, and so it's sort of the boundaries of the universe are really the boundaries of the university now. Being global is important, but the concept of a partnership or a reaching out or a connecting to the community beyond the campus, that's still there, wherever it may be located. We've also tried to focus on these issues by having a theme for the year, just as we have the Great Read, where we try to encourage everybody to read a particular book and share the experience of reading a book. In fact, that's my next job, is to choose what book will be the Great Read next year. And I have to hope that Rebecca Blank likes my choice, because I don't think I can consult her. But we have had the Year of Innovation and the Year of the Wisconsin Idea of the 2 years I've been back, and that fits very much with my own sense of value about what we are about at Wisconsin. So during this Year of Innovation, we have seen more opportunities than ever to do so. And it's a testament to the vision of people like Tashia and John and Nancy Matthews and all of you in this room of this commitment to engagement that we've really made a big thrust in the direction of engagement. And I think the other thing, and this is just as important as the community connection, is that we've tied many of these opportunities to high-impact learning practices so that it's a curricular change as well as a community relationship. There's no point in just having a relationship if we don't reflect it in ourselves and what we teach. Throughout the world of higher education, this term, which is a little ugly, I suppose, high impact learning, but it's okay. If you know what it means, it's a good thing, even if it is ugly. After all, interim chancellor is a pretty ugly name, right? So, the term seems to be a buzzword these days, but these purposeful learning experiences have been shown to deepen student learning and engagement, raise levels of performance, retention and success for students, and invoke intellectually engaging and effective educational practice. So I do want to stress that there's a backward feed into our curriculum and how we do the business of learning. In an analysis of the Association of American Colleges and Universities, George Koo, who's really been somebody who's, I think, tried to place the niche of engagement in the broader sense of undergraduate education, has listed several elements that make high-impact practice work. Engaging students in big questions and big ideas, integrating learning in and out of the classroom, a high level of challenge coupled with a very high level of support, both financial and, I might say, intellectually. Engaged interaction among students, faculty, and staff leaders in curricular issues and in how to conduct partnerships. If any of this sounds familiar, it may be because the type of projects you see today have explicitly demonstrated these elements over and over again. When Tashia Morgridge approached me in 1994, that's a long time ago, 1994, with the idea of creating a center for public service, I had no way of knowing the impact that the center and its efforts would have on this campus. It was a vision, and this is truly a vision that's come to manifest itself in practice. Over the past 17 years, the Morgridge Center has set an example for the rest of the university. It has built bridges with faculty members who wish to add a surface component to the classroom learning. It helps students and faculty carve out opportunity for reflection, creating a deeper and more lasting learning opportunity. And it has streamlined the process by which students may link service with their major or location of choice by adding even more value to their UW degree. When students choose where they will spend some of the most formative years of their lives, they look for a faculty and a staff who will engage them in unexpected ways. When the country's top scholars decide where they want to establish their careers, they look for students who seek out the challenge of change, particularly as it relates to real-world issues. And when Rebecca Blank, the daughter of 2 agricultural extension agents, looked for a new academic home, she has now found it here in Wisconsin. On Monday, we learned that Dr. Blank will succeed me as chancellor. In her campus visit, she spoke about the challenges of innovation and new technologies in education. How should classrooms change? How can we use innovation and technology to provide enhanced access? We don't completely understand these new models, but the least we can be doing is experimenting, piloting, and measuring how effective they are. But because of the breadth and depth and, yes, engagement that our scholarship takes, and the commitment of all scholars at all levels, we know that this university will not just react to innovation, but set the pace for others. And I hope in my 2 years here, that sense of continuity with the past and the future was really a key. I didn't want 2 years to just lie dormant. And I think it is in innovation, in all aspects of learning, that is the most generic aspect of educational change. Doesn't matter who the leader is, they can put their personal touch on it, but without changing ourselves for ourselves, largely with money that is not necessarily new. That's another hard thing. Most change that was done in my first term as chancellor was with new money. Not a thing has been done this time, it's been done with old money. That itself is an innovation, knowing how to do good things with old money. And old money is just as good as new money. I'm grateful to Tashia and John Morgridge for their unparalleled commitment to this university. Their own engagement mirrors the impact of their contributions. They are not content to give, they provide thoughtful, multidimensional leadership at every step of the process. 20 years ago, they took an early role in shaping outreach scholarship on this campus. 17 years ago, they established the Morgridge Center for Public Service. 3 years ago, they began the Morgridge Match Grant Program that funded the broad spectrum of research we recognize today. But the Matching Grant Program plays a more important role behind the scenes. In an era of diminishing funds and sequestration, I can pronounce that very well now. I'm hearing a lot about it. The program has shored up the Morgridge Center's endowment to provide a sustainable future for all of the engaged scholarship yet to come. This is more than a gift, it is truly a legacy. So please join me in thanking the Morgridges for this legacy as we welcome Tashia to the stage.
Thank you very much. I'd like to tell you a story about how John and I have spent the last 3 days, because we've been involved in engaged scholarship. And I feel as if this is sort of our poster presentation. For 2 days, for Monday and Tuesday, well, I'll have to back up, actually. I have to give you a little history. After Katrina hit in Louisiana and Mississippi, Cisco Systems decided that they should find a way to help out down there. So what they did is they interviewed Cisco employees who might be interested in leaving their job for a year, moving to Mississippi or Louisiana with their families, leaving their families or taking their families or just by themselves, and spending a year in working in the schools. Now they did this for 4 years. So 4 groups of Cisco employees went down, spent a year, worked in the schools. And one of the things they did in the schools while they were there was to wire the schools and to bring technology to the schools and to bring professional development to the teachers. So the Cisco employees left in 2009. John and I decided, since we were also invested in this program along with Cisco, that we wanted to see whether anything was left, to see what the work that had been done by Cisco and see what had happened since then. So on Monday and Tuesday, we were in Louisiana in Jefferson Parish and also in Mississippi visiting K-12 schools. And the thing we found were in some schools, the programs had stagnated. In other schools, they had used the Cisco work as a platform and had built upon that. Even in those schools that had not done as much progress as we had hoped, they did have more technology. They did have more people who were helping with technology in the schools. It's just that the programs hadn't moved as much as you would hope. In the others, the schools were totally involved. There were interactive whiteboards in every single classroom. They were being used most of the day. There was enthusiasm, and the kids were engaged in what they were doing. It was a wonderful thing. So this was a bit of engaged scholarship that we did by trying to find out how the work that had been done by Cisco and the investment that we had made, how that was working out. This morning, well, last night and this morning, we were in Kentucky, in Lexington. It's beautiful horse country. I've never driven around there before. It's absolutely gorgeous country. But we were there to visit some community and technical colleges from the Kentucky system, because a number of years ago, and I can't remember how many years ago, but Cisco had started what they call their Cisco Networking Academies. They've started them in high schools, and they started them in the community colleges. And the purpose of the Cisco Academies are to teach students how to take apart, put together, repair, work with technology, mostly routers, and then be able to get certification and go out into the community and get a high-paying job. So we wanted to find out how that was going. So our Engaged Scholarship last night and this morning was to meet with excuse me, the folks from the community college and to learn about how those programs are going. And we met by telepresence with somebody in southwestern Kentucky who was at one of the community colleges. And we met with 2 of the students who had taken these courses, and were able to hear their stories. One of the students was 30 years old. He had gone to community college. He had dropped out of community college. And then, as a father of several children, who was working at a very low-paying, low-level job, he decided that maybe he would like to kind of go back and learn how to use computers a little bit better. Computers and technology were something that were of interest to him in high school, and it never really was developed, which was kind of too bad. So at age 30, he went back and he went to a Cisco networking academy, and now has graduated, has a certificate, and is very well employed and very happy. So there are all kinds of engaged scholarship. And I guess my basic message is that we went down there to learn. That's why we went. And if you are, we could have stayed in California where the weather was much nicer. And we could have read a report about how these students were doing. We could have read a little squib that what Jeremy had to say about having dropped out and going back. We could have done all that. But unless you really get involved and meet the people and listen to their stories personally and shake their hand or wave at them if it's telepresence, you're really not going to get the full flavor of what's going on. So I really admire all of you who are engaged in community service. It's highly important. And one way John and I have shown that we believe it is important, well, 2 ways. One is to engage ourselves in community service, engage scholarship, to be there in the trenches, to be doing the things that we want, that need to be done, and to learn from the community, to see what we can bring to the community, because it's actually a 2-way street. You learn, you bring. So I congratulate all of you. And one way we are showing this importance is by having the Morgridge Match. So I'm pleased that all of you were able to take advantage of that. Thank you.